There's a moment in life when you realize not every battle is worth fighting, not every argument needs a response, not every insult deserves your energy, and not every room is meant for you to stay in. That moment when you pause, breathe, and choose silence, that's when real strength is born. You see, we've been taught that strength looks loud, that it shouts back, proves a point, shows dominance. But that's not strength, that's reaction. Walking away is often misunderstood. In a world that glorifies dominance, loud opinions, and the last word, stepping back can be misinterpreted as weakness. But in truth, walking away, especially quietly, isn't weakness at all, it's mastery. Mastery of self, mastery of emotion, mastery of knowing exactly when to hold on and when to let go. Most people are driven by the need to win. They want to prove they're right, be seen as strong, and never appear as if they lost something. But what if real strength isn't about winning the argument? What if it's about recognizing that the argument doesn't even deserve your presence? That kind of awareness takes maturity most people haven't developed yet. It takes emotional control, inner calm, and confidence in who you are and what you stand for. You see, anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can throw blame, defend their ego, or shout their side of the story. That's easy. That's human impulse. But it takes an entirely different kind of person to remain calm, to observe, and to decide this is not worth my energy. That's a level of discipline that not many people talk about, but it's one of the clearest signs of growth. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply about your peace, your energy, and your future. It means you're no longer willing to trade your mental clarity for temporary satisfaction. When you walk away, you're choosing to rise above the noise, the drama, and the small-mindedness that wants to keep you stuck. The truth is, mastery looks boring on the surface. It looks like silence, like stepping back, like not engaging. People might not understand your decision. They may even call it avoidance or accuse you of being cold or passive. But that's only because they haven't learned the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is immediate, emotional, and often messy. Responding is thoughtful, intentional, and powerful. People who have mastered themselves don't walk away because they're afraid. They walk away because they know exactly what they stand to lose if they stay. Time, dignity, peace, direction. They know that some situations are designed to pull you down, and sometimes the best way to win is not to play. It's not about pride. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the version of you that used to stay in places too long. The version of you that used to argue, fight, explain, and try to be understood by people who never really listened. That version of you tried hard to fix things that weren't theirs to fix. But now you know better. You know that when something or someone threatens your well-being, your best move is not louder words. It's quiet departure. Mastery is knowing when to engage and when to exit. And walking away quietly, that's the ultimate power move. Because it's not about what the world sees, it's about what you know, that you could have said more, done more, argued more, but you didn't. Because you've reached a level where peace matters more than pride. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of communication. People often assume that if you're silent, you have nothing to say. That if you don't respond, you're giving up. That if you walk away without an explanation, it's because you're weak or afraid. But in reality, silence is not a surrender. It is a conscious, deliberate, and incredibly powerful choice. Choosing silence requires strength. It means you have the self-awareness to understand that not every situation deserves your voice, not every conflict needs your involvement, and not every comment deserves a reply. Silence isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing that your words are valuable and you don't just give them away for the sake of being heard. In our culture, people often associate power with noise. The louder you are, the stronger you seem. The more you talk, the more control you appear to have. But real control, real influence, comes from knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. And often, silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Think about it. When someone is trying to provoke you, their goal is to get a reaction. They want your attention. They want your energy. They want you to get pulled into their chaos. When you remain silent, you rob them of that power. You show them that you're not playing their game. You show them that their noise doesn't shake your peace. Silence doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. It means you're strong enough to feel without reacting. It means you've reached a level of emotional intelligence that allows you to sit with your thoughts, your emotions, and your values and respond only when it serves your higher self. It's not about bottling things up. It's about choosing your timing, your tone, and your battles wisely. There is also wisdom in understanding that some people will never hear you, no matter how loud you speak. They are not listening to understand, they're listening to defend, to attack, or to twist your words. In those cases, silence is not just a choice. It's protection. It's a boundary. It's a signal that you will not lower your standards just to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding you. There's dignity in silence. There's grace in holding back when every part of you wants to speak. And there's maturity in knowing that your silence doesn't make you small, it makes you wise. Because the truth is, silence can be a form of protest. It can be a statement. It can be the most respectful way to let go of something without creating more damage. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to defend yourself against every attack. You don't have to explain your decisions to people who never supported you in the first place. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to simply say nothing and walk away. People will talk. They will create their own stories. Let them. Your silence means you're not seeking approval. You're not seeking validation. You're focused on something bigger, your peace, your growth, your future. And that kind of focus cannot be shaken by noise. Silence is not giving up, it's standing up for yourself, your values, and your boundaries. It's stepping into a space where you no longer need to prove anything. Because when you know who you are and you trust your path, you realize silence is not the absence of power. It is power. Quiet, focused, unshakable. Your energy is one of the most valuable currencies you have, more than time, more than money, because while time keeps moving and money can be regained, your energy is directly tied to your well-being, your clarity, your focus, your emotional state, and yet most people spend it like it's endless. They waste it on arguments, distractions, toxic people, and pointless obligations, never stopping to ask, is this where I want to invest the best parts of myself? We often think of energy as something we just have or don't have, but the truth is your energy is constantly being exchanged. Every conversation, every interaction, every thought is either a deposit or a withdrawal. You're either being charged up or drained. The question is, are you aware of where your energy is going? And more importantly, is it growing anything? Think of your energy like sunlight. When it's directed at the right things, relationships that nurture you, work that fulfills you, habits that build you, growth happens. You flourish. But when that same light is scattered or cast on barren ground, negativity, gossip, drama, or environments that stifle you, it gets wasted. And no matter how much sunlight you pour in, nothing grows. You just burn out. So many people feel tired, not because they've done too much, but because they've poured too much of themselves into the wrong places. They keep showing up for people who don't reciprocate. They keep trying to change situations they don't want to change. They keep revisiting past versions of themselves just to stay comfortable. And over time, they feel depleted. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That's why boundaries are so important. Not just physical boundaries, but energetic ones. You need to protect your focus. Guard your peace. Say no without guilt. Because every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to something that could. And life is too short and your energy too limited to keep giving away pieces of yourself to things that don't grow you. It's also crucial to understand that growth doesn't always feel good at first. Sometimes spending your energy where it grows means walking away from people you care about. It means letting go of roles you've outgrown. It means choosing discomfort in the short term for freedom in the long term. But it's worth it. Because once you start investing in what truly aligns with you, you'll begin to see the difference. You'll feel lighter, more focused, more alive. When you spend your energy with intention, life begins to respond. The right people show up. Opportunities begin to align. Your mind clears. Your confidence grows, not because life got easier, but because you stopped leaking your energy on things that don't deserve it. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to prove yourself everywhere. You don't have to attend every battle you're invited to. You just have to know what you're building, who you're becoming, and whether the things you're spending energy on are helping you get there. So take a step back, look at your life like a bank account. What's draining you? What's investing in your future? What returns are you getting from the things you pour yourself into? You only get so much energy each day. Spend it where something grows, where something builds, where something heals, where something aligns with your values, your purpose, your peace. Because the truth is, how you spend your energy is how you shape your life. Choose wisely. Strong people understand something that most people spend years trying to learn. Closure isn't something you get from others. It's something you give yourself. They don't waste energy chasing explanations, apologies, or resolutions from people who are unwilling or unable to offer them. Instead, they choose clarity. They choose to make peace with what is, rather than endlessly wrestle with what could have been. We're taught to believe that closure is a neat final moment, a conversation, a realization, an apology that suddenly makes everything make sense. But real life doesn't work that way. People leave without saying why. Relationships end without reason. Opportunities slip away without warning. And if you tie your peace to someone else's honesty, you'll be waiting forever. Strong people realize that closure is often a fantasy. It's the mind's way of trying to make sense of pain. But clarity is real. Clarity comes when you decide to stop seeking answers from others and start listening to yourself. It's the moment you say, I don't need to understand everything to move forward. That's not giving up. That's growing up. The pursuit of closure can become a trap. You tell yourself, if I could just talk to them one more time, if I could just make them see my side, if I could just understand why it happened the way it did. But underneath all those if-onlys is a deeper truth. You want control. You want to fix what broke. You want to rewrite the ending. But the past doesn't change no matter how many times you replay it. That's why strong people stop replaying. They stop chasing people who walked away. They stop waiting for perfect words to mend imperfect endings. They realize that clarity comes from looking inward, not outward. From asking, what did I learn, rather than, why did they do it? Because clarity isn't about fixing the past. It's about making peace with it. It takes strength to sit with unanswered questions. It takes courage to let go of the hope that someone else will heal what they hurt. But in that space, something powerful happens. You begin to reclaim your narrative. You stop being the person who was left, betrayed, or hurt, and you start being the person who grew, who learned, who rose. Creating clarity means owning your part without blaming yourself for theirs. It means seeing the truth without trying to change it. It means accepting that not everyone is meant to go where you're going, and that's okay. Sometimes closure isn't a door being gently closed with mutual understanding. Sometimes it's a door you walk away from and never knock on again. Strong people trust that healing doesn't come from revisiting pain, it comes from building something better in its place. They write their own ending, they create their own peace, and they stop waiting for permission to move on. So if you're holding on, hoping for that one final talk, that one final message to make everything click, pause. Ask yourself, is this really about closure, or is it about holding on to something that's already gone? The truth is, closure from others is a comfort, but clarity within yourself is freedom. One can be taken away, the other can't. And strong people choose freedom every time. Let them go, let the question go, let the story end. There's a difference between leaving to be seen and leaving to be free. The loud exit, the dramatic goodbye, the final outburst, the need to prove a point is often rooted in insecurity. It's a cry to be noticed, a demand to be validated, a last attempt to make someone understand your worth. But the quiet exit, that's different. That's not about being seen. It's about being sure. Grounded people don't need an audience when they walk away. They need alignment. Insecurity seeks attention. It needs witnesses. It wants to control the narrative. When someone makes a loud exit, it's often because they haven't yet come to peace with the departure. They need to explain, to justify, to get the last word. And beneath all of that noise is a simple fear. The fear of being forgotten. The fear of being misunderstood. The fear that their silence won't be enough to say what they need to say. But strength doesn't shout. Grounded people understand that dignity doesn't come from how loudly you leave, but from how gracefully you do it. They don't need to slam doors. They don't need to make speeches. They've already done the work within themselves. They've already sat with the pain, the disappointment, the realization that something isn't for them anymore. So when they leave, it's not to make a scene, it's to reclaim their peace. The truth is, the loud exit often comes from unresolved emotion. It's what happens when someone feels powerless and uses volume to fill the silence. But grounded people are not afraid of silence. They are not looking for a performance. They are looking for a life that reflects their values, and when something no longer fits that vision, they move on without needing to convince anyone that they're right. This doesn't mean grounded people don't feel hurt or that they don't care. It means they choose not to let their pain lead the way. They understand that burning bridges doesn't prove strength. it proves impulsiveness. And while the loud exit may feel satisfying in the moment, it rarely brings the peace it promises. If anything, it leaves behind more mess, more regret, more noise to clean up later. Quiet exits come from clarity, from knowing your limits, from understanding that not everyone deserves an explanation, and not every situation needs closure. Sometimes the most respectful thing you can do for yourself and for others is to simply walk away and let your silence speak. Because silence, when it comes from strength, says everything that words cannot. People may not understand your quiet exit. They may accuse you of being cold, distant, or passive. But grounded people don't live for external approval. They live for internal alignment. They trust themselves enough to know when it's time to go. And they don't stay a minute longer trying to convince others of their decision. There's power in restraint. There's power in letting your actions do the talking. And when you walk away quietly, you're saying, I've made peace with this. I don't need chaos to confirm it. That's the kind of strength that lasts. Not the strength that needs to be seen, but the kind that stays with you in the stillness. So if you ever find yourself in a place where leaving feels necessary, ask yourself, am I trying to be heard or am I trying to be free? One leads to drama, the other leads to peace. The loud exit may satisfy your ego for a moment, but the quiet one honors your growth for a lifetime. And when you're grounded in who you are, you'll find that peace is louder than any words you could ever say. Walking away is often misjudged. From the outside, it can look like defeat, like giving up, like surrendering. But those who've truly walked away from something that no longer serves them know the truth. It's not weakness. No, it's not powerlessness. It's the moment you finally take your power back. The moment you stop letting someone else dictate your peace, your worth, your future. For a long time, we're conditioned to stay, to hold on, to try harder. We convince ourselves that loyalty means endurance, even when it hurts. That love means sacrifice, even when it's one-sided. That strength means staying longer than we should. But real strength isn't about how long you hold on. It's about recognizing when something is no longer right and having the courage to walk away anyway. When you walk away, it's not because you've lost. It's because you've outgrown the need to prove yourself. You no longer need to explain your value to people who refuse to see it. You no longer feel the urge to beg for clarity from those who only gave you confusion. You stop chasing what you know deep down is not meant for you, and you begin to chase something higher: peace, purpose, growth. Taking your power back doesn't always come with a fight. Sometimes it comes with silence, with stillness, with a quiet decision made in the privacy of your own heart. A moment when you say to yourself, I deserve better than this. And that moment becomes a turning point, not because the world sees it, but because you do. You see yourself clearly for the first time in a long time. You stop settling, you stop shrinking, you stop waiting for things to change, and you become the change. So many people stay in situations, relationships, jobs, friendships, not because they're happy, but because they're afraid. Afraid of starting over, afraid of being alone, afraid of the unknown. But the truth is, staying where you're not growing is a slow surrender of your power. It's handing over your energy, your joy, and your potential to people or places that can't nourish you. Walking away is how you stop that cycle. It's not a dramatic exit. It's not about making anyone feel guilty. It's not even about revenge or proving a point. It's a quiet revolution inside you that says, my peace matters more than my pride. That's power. That's ownership. That's strength. You don't need everyone to understand why you walked away. You don't need to justify your healing. You only need to trust that walking away was the most honest thing you could do, not for them, but for you. Because when you reclaim your power, you also reclaim your standards, your time, your identity. And here's the most powerful part. Walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of something more aligned, something more authentic, something that reflects who you are becoming, not who you used to be. The road ahead might be uncertain, but it will be yours, built on self-respect, not self-sacrifice. You didn't leave because you had no other choice. You left because you finally realized you do have a choice. You realized that your power was never in controlling others or fixing what was broken or enduring what was unbearable. Your power was always in your ability to choose you. So if you've walked away or are thinking about it, remember this. it's not because you're weak. It's because you're strong enough to no longer accept anything that diminishes you. You are not running away from something. You are returning to yourself. And there's no greater power than that.